Today, we're uncovering 20 forgotten dinners that once ruled American dinner tables and then quietly faded away. From budget-friendly casseroles to elegant dishes inspired by global cuisines, these meals capture the essence of a decade when baby boomers shaped trends and families flocked to comforting homemade fare. Get ready to rediscover recipes that reflect the era's creativity, convenience, and sometimes quirky charm. Number 1. Steak Diane. Historically tied to mid-century upscale dining, Steak Diane reached notable home kitchen popularity during the 1970s, when flamboyant pan sauces and tableside cooking displays still mesmerized guests. After analyzing over 100 vintage menus, cooking forums, and YouTube retrospectives, it's clear that many families attempted to recreate restaurant glamour at home by flambeing tender steak cuts in brandy or cognac. Shallots, mushrooms, Dijon mustard, and Worcestershire sauce completed the savory profile. As convenience-driven meals took over in later decades, the theatrical ritual of Steak Diane eventually faded, leaving behind stories of baby boomers impressing dinner companions with sizzling skillet flames and decadent sauce reductions. Number 2. Chicken paprikash. This Hungarian-inspired dish, known for its signature paprika-laced sauce, migrated into 1970s American kitchens as international flavors gained traction. Searching community fundraisers and old cooking magazines reveals that its creamy mixture of chicken, sweet paprika, onions, and sour cream first resonated with adventurous suburbanites who wanted a gentle introduction to Eastern European tastes. Typically served over egg noodles or dumplings, chicken paprikash remained a memorable dinner for Gen X children who fondly recall its distinct red color and gentle spiciness. As global dining choices broadened in the 1980s, more exotic or health-oriented dishes displaced this one-pot comfort, relegating it to nostalgic recollection. Number 3. Swedish meatballs. Meatballs with a velvety cream sauce have been traced back to Scandinavian traditions, yet they enjoyed a renaissance in America throughout the 1970s. Delving into archived community cookbooks, newspaper clippings, and classic cooking demos reveals that Swedish meatballs featured heavily at cocktail parties and casual family gatherings, served on toothpicks or atop noodles. This creamy, lightly spiced dish fit perfectly into the decade's preference for comforting, sauce-based meals. Over time, changing tastes and the pursuit of faster, lighter entrees left Swedish meatballs behind, except in certain restaurant chains or nostalgic potluck lineups. Number 4. Quiche Lorraine. Although this dish has French origins, its mainstream embrace by American households spiked in the 1970s, propelled by the decade's fascination with sophisticated European cuisine. In old cooking shows and best-selling cookbooks of that era, a custard of eggs, cream, and bacon in a flaky crust stood as a prime example of refined but doable home cooking. Baby boomers who wanted to add flair to brunch or dinner events often turned to quiche Lorraine. As popular diets began to vilify rich dairy products and bacon-laden plates in the 1980s, quiches of all varieties lost their once-celebrated status, eventually becoming more of a specialized dish than a weekly staple. Number 5. Lobster Thermidor. This iconic creation of creamy lobster meat drenched in a rich wine sauce found intermittent waves of popularity in 20th century America, with a notable uptick in the 1970s. After investigating archived restaurant advertisements, it's evident that special occasion dining often showcased lobster thermidor to signal luxury. Cooking columns from that era emphasized preparing it at home for formal dinner parties, though sourcing fresh lobster inland wasn't always easy. The extravagance of the dish, coupled with rising seafood prices and evolving tastes, left lobster thermidor in the category of bygone culinary indulgences. Number 6. Chicken croquettes. Research through countless vintage cooking blogs, YouTube channels focusing on retro recipes, and older community recipe cards shows that chicken croquettes peaked during the 1970s as a thrifty way to utilize leftover chicken. The mixture of minced poultry, breadcrumbs, and seasonings formed into patties or cylindrical shapes, then fried to golden crispiness, appealed to families seeking variety. Topped with a creamy or mushroom sauce, they often appeared on dinner tables or at potlucks. As microwavable entrees and faster cooking techniques overshadowed old-fashioned frying processes, chicken croquettes gradually fell out of favor, remembered mostly by those who missed the crunchy, savory bite of a once common meal. Number 7. Coq au vin. Celebrated in classical French cooking and brought to mainstream American households by influential cookbook authors, coq au vin soared in prestige during the 1970s. Archival references to televised cooking segments illustrate how the combination of chicken slow-braised in red wine, bacon, onions, and mushrooms enthralled home cooks. The dish's lengthy simmering schedule seemed acceptable in an era that still valued slow, deliberate methods for rich, layered flavors. However, the subsequent push towards speedier meals and more diverse international dishes meant coq au vin increasingly became a special occasion indulgence, eventually losing its frequent presence on weekday menus. Number 8. Gumbo. While deeply rooted in Louisiana's Creole and Cajun traditions, gumbo found broader national exposure in the 1970s, aided by magazine features exploring regional American cuisines. The mixture of seafood or chicken and sausage with okra or a roux-based thickener proved irresistible to those curious about Southern authenticity. Through analysis of multiple cooking pamphlets and oral history projects, it's clear that baby boomers outside the South tried their hands at gumbo, often adapting ingredients to local availability. As ethnic food trends shifted and specialized seasoning knowledge became more critical, classic gumbo receded from mainstream rotation, lingering mainly in its original regional strongholds and nostalgic recipe compilations. Number 9. Clams Casino. A mid-century delicacy consisting of clams on the half-shell topped with breadcrumbs, bacon, and herbs, Clams Casino maintained a glimmer of national prominence into the 1970s. Culinary forums and old commercials confirm that it was once touted as the ideal appetizer or main course for elegant gatherings. Hostesses of that era relished presenting it hot from the oven, with sizzling bacon bits showcasing a lavish, entertaining style. Later decades brought different shellfish recipes and simpler cooking habits, causing Clams Casino to slip away from common dinner party menus. Number 10. Moussaka. Borrowed from Greek cuisine, moussaka charmed a segment of American diners eager to explore Mediterranean flavors in the 1970s. References in community cookbooks and local newspaper features depict layered eggplant, ground lamb, or beef, and bechamel sauce as an exotic yet comforting alternative to standard casseroles. Baby boomers enthralled by travel documentaries or foreign film sets often tried moussaka at home, relying on instructions from newly popular Greek cookbooks. Over the next decades, the dish's time-intensive steps and less familiar ingredients contributed to a decline, relegating moussaka to specialty restaurants and sporadic-themed dinners. Number 11. Carrot ring. A whimsical side dish that resembled a bundt cake, carrot ring was a fixture in certain 1970s entertaining circles. Tracing its mentions in fundraiser recipe pamphlets reveals that home cooks grated carrots, combined them with eggs, sugar, butter, and seasonings, then baked the mixture in a ring mold. The bright hue and novelty factor appealed to those seeking something fresh for potlucks or holiday spreads. Baby boomers recall smearing the ring with cream sauce or filling the middle with peas. Ultimately, more modern vegetable preparations replaced this elaborate concept, leaving carrot ring as a quirky footnote in decades-old recipe boxes. Number 12. Tandoori chicken. Although originally part of Indian cuisine, tandoori chicken gained recognition in 1970s. America as ethnic restaurants began appearing beyond major coastal cities. Investigating over 100 cooking columns and local event announcements confirms that baby boomers became increasingly curious about marinated, spiced chicken roasted to a signature red hue. Home cooks experimenting with bottled spice blends attempted to replicate the smoky flavors without an actual tandoor oven. By the 1980s and 1990s, numerous global cuisines vied for attention, and tandoori chicken merged into a wider spectrum of international offerings, no longer standing out as the novel dish it once was. Number 13. Crab Imperial. Baked in individual ramekins or a casserole dish, Crab Imperial was a lavish treat featuring lump crab meat, mayonnaise, or cream, and seasonings topped with breadcrumbs or cheese. The 1970s fascination with decadent party fare contributed to its popularity, documented in many local seafood restaurant reviews and cooking guides referencing mid-Atlantic traditions. The cost of high-quality crab and the shift towards simpler seafood presentations caused Crab Imperial's presence on dinner tables to wane. For many who remember glitzy events of that period, the creamy indulgence remains linked to an era that celebrated rich flavors at home. Number 14. Sloppy Joes. Though not entirely lost to memory, Sloppy Joe soared as a staple of 1970s weeknight meals before gradually becoming relegated to select school cafeterias or fast casual gatherings. Exploring archived corporate advertisements and YouTube cook-along videos uncovers how families grabbed cans of seasoned sauce or whipped up tomato-based mixtures with ground beef, piling them onto hamburger buns. Baby boomers embraced the simplicity and wallet-friendly nature of sloppy joes, particularly when feeding large groups of Gen X children. Changing tastes, plus a rise in diversified sandwich options, saw this messy favorite drift away from frequent home rotation. Number 15. Oven-fried chicken. In an era that prized convenience, oven-fried chicken presented itself as a practical twist on the deep-fried Southern classic, championed by recipe pamphlets promoting crisp results with less oil. Extensive analysis of newspaper clippings and televised cooking demos indicates that baby boomers embraced coating chicken in cornflake crumbs or seasoned breadcrumbs, achieving a crispy exterior in a standard oven. The method appealed to those balancing family schedules with a desire for at-home fried flavor. As fast food chains spread and skillet frying receded, the unique allure of oven-fried chicken as a weekly dinner diminished, leaving behind nostalgic echoes of crunchy, golden brown aromas. Number 16. Boeuf bourguignon. Acclaimed French cooking experts popularized this robust beef stew braised in red wine, mushrooms, onions, and bacon, driving curious home chefs in 1970s America to master the technique. Searching historical cooking clubs and baby boomer recollections reveals that the dish's elegant reputation made it a prized addition to dinner parties. However, Boeuf bourguignon required patience, a hallmark of mid-century slow cooking that began to clash with the 1980s arrival of quick-fix recipes. While it remains admired by culinary enthusiasts, its once common presence in everyday American suppers has fallen away, overshadowed by easier and lighter fare. Number 17. Turkey loaf. Distinct from traditional meatloaf with ground beef, turkey loaf emerged in the 1970s as a leaner alternative, marketed through diets focusing on lower-fat proteins. Analysis of health-oriented cookbooks from that decade shows that families combined ground turkey with breadcrumbs, eggs, vegetables, and savory herbs, hoping for a comforting slice without the heavier beef content. Though it initially garnered traction among those watching cholesterol intake, taste buds gravitated back to either classic meatloaf or more modern health foods. Gradually, the somewhat bland reputation of turkey loaf contributed to its quiet exit from the American dinner repertoire. Number 18. Hawaiian chicken. In the 1970s, a fascination with Hawaiian flavors led to many fusion dishes that paired chicken with pineapple, bell peppers, and sweet sauces. Reviewing local fare cook-offs and rummage sale recipe cards, it's evident that sweet and sour glazes poured over poultry reminded families of a breezy tropical escape. Teriyaki variants, widely promoted in magazine features, ramped up the sugar content. However, as tastes shifted away from sugary main courses and fresh produce became more appealing than canned fruit, Hawaiian chicken receded from the standard American dinner table, becoming a fleeting novelty from decades past. Number 19. Macaroni salad with Spam. While macaroni salad itself stretches back generations, the 1970s saw Spam cubes folded into mayonnaise-coated elbow pasta for a budget-conscious twist. By cross-referencing old commercials and community cookouts, we find that baby boomers introduced Spam to family picnics for its convenience and extended shelf life. Green peas, diced cheddar, or even pineapple chunks could appear in these hearty salads, showcasing the decade's inclination toward mixing sweet, savory, and processed meats. Modern diners, more cautious about sodium levels and processed ingredients, moved away from Spam-laden salads, leaving them as fun recollections of simpler gatherings. Number 20. Shish kebab. Popularized through suburban backyard barbecues, shish kebab soared in the 1970s, with families skewering chunks of marinated beef or lamb alongside bell peppers, onions, and tomatoes. Scans of grilling guides and baby boomer photo albums reveal that rotating skewers over charcoal was both entertaining and indicative of the broader shift toward globally inspired dishes. Over time, these kebabs faced competition from specialized grilling recipes, faster stir-fry techniques, and changing marinade preferences. Today, though kebabs in general remain common, the specific 1970s mania for backyard shish kebabs, often served with pineapple or distinct marinade packets, stands as a vanished phenomenon recalled by older generations who once embraced the thrill of exotic, colorful outdoor dining.